Hi, my name is Erin Garvey, and I'm going to show you how to open your trumpet case, check out what's inside, and we're going to take a little tour of how to put your trumpet together and oil the valves. So let's get started. First, when you open your case, you need to make sure that the case is facing right side up. So there are a couple things that you're going to look for. If you have this case, there's a symbol on the top that's round, and it also says Yamaha, and you want to make sure that that's right side up. If your case is a little different, just look for the brand name and make sure that you can read it the way that it's sitting. These latches just lift up, and you're going to bring the top part of the hinge down. And we did it right. Our trumpet is not falling out of the case, so that's good. We have a couple things once we get the case open. We have a bottle of valve oil. We have the main body of the trumpet and our mouthpiece. So we're just going to set the valve oil aside. We'll talk a little bit about that later. Our trumpet is really one of the easiest instruments to put together, but there's one detail that you need to remember. So when we have this mouthpiece, we want to make sure that when we put it in, we slide it in really gently and then twist it just a little bit, maybe a quarter of a turn, and that's all it takes. We don't want to hit it on the end or just use a lot of muscle. Even at a young age, we're strong enough to mess it up if we do it too much. So just that little turn, and you can see when I aim it down, it's not going to fall out. It's in there just fine. And if we want to take it out again, we twist and we're good. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is oil our valves, and we want to be very thoughtful when we do this, and we're just going to do one at a time. So we're going to start with the first valve, and there's a little place where you can grip onto it. You'll see there's some grooves on the top of the valve. We're going to just twist it very gently, and when we take it out, you can see that there's two different colors. There's kind of a gold color and a gray color. And we're going to aim to put a drop of valve oil where it's gray. Now, if you look really closely, you'll be able to see that on the gold part, it says number 1 right on the front. So we know that that is the first valve. Okay, so very carefully, just one drop right there. We're going to see if that's enough. If it's not, we can always put another. We're just going to wiggle it around so that that oil gets in there. And that feels good. We won't have to add any more than that. We'll drop it down in, and I'm going to listen very carefully as I twist it for a little click. Now, I could hear that. I don't know if you can hear that, but you'll be able to feel it and hear it. Once it clicks, very carefully and slowly, we're going to twist the top of the valve back down, and that's it. As you oil each one, you'll just repeat the same step. Don't try and do all of them at once. Just do one at a time, and that's how you oil your valves. The next thing that we're going to do is learn how to make a buzz with our lips, then on the mouthpiece, and finally putting it all together and making our first sound on the trumpet. So what we're going to do with our lips is press them together almost like we're saying the letter M. We still want to see a little bit of our lips. We don't want to roll them all the way in, and then we're going to force some air through the middle so that they make a buzz, and it's going to look like this. And it might take you a couple tries to do that, and it sounds kind of silly, it feels funny, but that's your first step. The next thing we're going to do is take the mouthpiece, and we're going to make that buzz, and then we're just going to cover over the top of it. So you shouldn't need a lot of pressure, and it'll make a little bit of a different sound. So again, we'll start with that buzz, make the letter M. So that's kind of our first step. Once you get that mouthpiece on top, you might try just going from the mouthpiece alone. So we get a sound like this. You can play around with it and make it go high and low. Okay, then once you've got that mastered, we're going to take the mouthpiece, and remember, we're going to twist it gently when we put it in our trumpet. And that buzz turns into our trumpet sound. So I'm going to play in the middle and then low and then high, and all the while I'm changing that buzz to make it sound a little different. So that's it. That's how you make a buzz, and good luck with your first notes on your trumpet. Our last step today is caring for your trumpet and putting it away. After you've played for a little while, you'll probably have a little bit of liquid built up in your trumpet, and so yours might be different than this, but here's what you're going to look for. There are 2 spit valves on your trumpet, and so before you're done, you'll want to open these up and just let them empty out. Make sure that this is the lowest point and get all the liquid out of there before you store it. We'll take our mouthpiece out just the same way that we started. So we'll twist it. And I'm going to keep this out for a second because we have one more thing to talk about with that. As we put our trumpet back in the case, there's really only one way that it fits in there. You'll notice that the second valve slide kind of sticks up towards the top, so you can look for that. And if you get it wrong, just keep moving it around until it fits in there. Okay, so with our mouthpiece, this part of our trumpet will need to be cleaned a little bit more often than the main body. When you look through it, it should be smooth. If you see anything in there, that's when you want to make sure that you are rinsing it out. You can just use mild soap and like you would use to wash dishes, and just lukewarm water. And there are brushes that you will use, and you just put it through the top side, thread it through the bottom side, and dry it like you would a dish, and that's really all there is. It's not too fancy. You just want to make sure that you're very gentle with it. When you're ready to clean the main body of your trumpet, you'll probably want to go to a video that shows you everything, taking everything apart, and that will probably be something that your teacher helps you with as well, because that's a much more complicated process.